School lunches. As a student, we have all experienced these. Sometimes good, but mostly bad. This midday meal is really important for students because it's what replenishes them before they go back to class. That is why I think these factors of poor nutrition lead to a student's academic failure. I think that poor diet quality, lack of food consumption, overconsumption of unhealthy foods, limited access to foods, and poverty within families causes children not to get the nutrition they need, so they do not do good in school. Let's start with diet quality. According to the Christian Perspectives in Education, children aged 2 to 17 consume diets that are only about half as nutritious as recommended. Students do not consume enough fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, and consume too much saturated fat, sodium, and extra calorie foods. Their diet is only including the poor foods that aren't good for them. These foods are more likely to lower their brain power and cause them to not be able to focus as well returning back to class. In a study done by Wan Johi found on a journal by IOP Science, the main cause of malnutrition among children was lack of enough food and a balanced diet. And the more malnourished a student is, the more likely they are going to do bad in school. Next, the students that are not eating as much have poor academic success because they are not getting the right nutritional needs per day. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 6 to 11-year-old food insufficient children had significantly lower arithmetic scores and were more likely to have repeated a grade. This could be due to schools not being able to support their allergic needs, or it could be from schools not providing appetizing foods for the kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics also says that food insufficient teenagers were more likely to have seen a psychologist and have been suspended from school. When the students do not have the food that they need, they are more likely to have impaired psychosocial functions and to have received psychological counseling. If the student is fed often and gets the right amount of nutrition, they are going to be successful in school. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, school-aged children identified as hungry or at risk of hunger were more likely to be absent from school or late to school, and were more likely to be receiving special education services, and were marginally more likely to have repeated a grade. Next, students who overeat and have a sugar crash are more likely to do poorly in school. This is not good for them because an independent association between overall diet quality and academic performance has been demonstrated, especially in terms of diet adequacy and variety. So if children are overloaded with junk food and do not eat anything healthy, it'll hinder their academic performance. When a student experiences a sugar crash, it is when they have a glucose intake that is so high that the body begins to shut down as it processes all the food. If the student was going to have this during the school day, that means that they would return to class being tired and exhausted. A way that they tried to solve this was with the USDA Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, where at-risk schools in all 50 states increased fruit and vegetable consumption to help improve the students' diet quality. This made an overall attempt to fix the students' diet and made the students' academic success better. Finally, lack of access to healthy food and poverty within families leads to students not getting the nutrition they need and overall doing poorly in school. If the families live in areas where they cannot get the healthier food suppliers, they could be unable to get the best nutrition for their children. The Momentous Institute states that these two factors, the rising cost and the lack of access to healthy food, make it especially difficult for families living in poverty to provide the best nutrition for children. If the school is only able to supply their children with foods that are not good for them, it is only going to hinder their academic success. However, according to the Public School Review, foods with saturated fats are often the most affordable and widely available in schools. Since almost 1 in 5 American children are poor, and more than 14 million children under the age of 18 live in food-insecure households, they struggle to get the correct dietary foods that they need. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, research on child development in non-industrialized countries shows that malnutrition is associated with delays in motor skills, cognitive deficits, and decreases in school performance. This proves that when the students in school cannot get the right dietary needs met, they are more likely to do poorly in school. Some things that I would take away from this are 3 key points. Number 1, if you can eat better, you should. It'll overall benefit your academic success and cause you to do better in school. Number 2, call out your schools if you notice the food you're eating to be gross or unappetizing. If you're not happy with how you're eating, you should be able to have a say in changing what is given to you. And finally, number 3, controlling your diet is important to your academic performance, but mainly your mental health. If you're eating too much or eating too little, acknowledge that it's time to fix the way that you eat and start trying a better diet. It'll be helpful later on in your academic career and make you feel better overall. Thank you for watching.